Project Zomboid is one of the best games I've ever played in my entire life, and I do not say that lightly. In a way, I feel like I'm kind of late to the party. This game got wildly popular over the course of 2022, but with over 30,000 concurrent players right now as I make the script, replayability beyond practically any other game I've played in recent memory, and a steep but manageable learning curve that keeps me interested in the game every single session, well, it's really just a no-brainer. Get it? No brains? Project Zomboid can absolutely be called creative genius, and with a games industry that falls short lately in a lot of predictable ways, Project Zomboid effortlessly stands out from the crowd. Let's dive in. First things first, the game just starts off strong. Right from the Steam launch menu, you can basically feel through the screen just how much creativity and care has gone into this. Right from that first mouse click, the very first one, you are confronted with an option. There are two different ways to launch the game, one of them labeled as a backup plan that may work if the default fails. And that may seem small, it kinda is small, but it really just started me off on the right foot. A secondary alternative attempting to provide solutions to the player base even before some of those problems that they might encounter become visible in the first place. Excellent start. Great start, and the game only gets better from there. The next major thing to be clear about is that mod support is not just a basic function, it's been deliberately considered and prioritized. It is very smooth to download some of the better mods, install them, and get them working. Quite literally, anyone can do it, even me, with ease, and that's not always the case for all games, which is yet another way that this title stands out from the crowd from the very first moment that you log in. Like I said, starting off strong in the player support and community categories without any question, because there are a lot of talented modders working on this game, clearly. The modding community is very vibrant, but what about the actual default game itself? Project Zomboid is a zombie survival RPG, go figure, based on the title, and it's the best one I've ever played. Why? Because the game isn't about you or your character, it's about the world. You will die in this game. You will lose your progress, sort of. Every time you start out, you get placed in a random safe house, no zombies in that particular house, some basic provisions, water and power for a limited number of days before they shut off for good, and a single fundamental directive: survive. Built on realism, the game is one of the most intuitive digital creations I have ever spent time in, and I don't know if I want to make this video about individual mechanics or not, or a descriptive segment about how the systems all work, because that might honestly destroy some of the enjoyment that individual future players get, so I'll do it like this. My first character died immediately. I made no progress, learned no skills, and had no impact on the world around me, but every time I dropped into the game subsequently after that, I learned some sort of critical lesson. On my first run, I learned that I always need to crouch and stay hidden. Attracting a large group of zombies by running through the street like I did can easily kill you, and once I panicked and ran, they just kept appearing from everywhere. It didn't help I was actually on the hardest difficulty on the hardest map, but I realized that later when I kept experimenting. My second character, well, I let that one die on purpose because I didn't realize that I need to cover my safe house windows. While sleeping, a zombie saw me, I guess, and, well, that was a bad run, but it taught me the value of battening down, boarding up, and covering the windows with sheets. I can't stress this enough, Project Zomboid is likely the most realistic zombie survival game on the entire market, and the action pattern you go through with every new character intuitively just makes sense. Over the course of my next few runs, I learned all sorts of things. Eat the fresh produce first. Don't carry way more than you should or you'll actually hurt yourself and your character. And eventually, read the books and watch TV because at the start, you simply don't have the necessary skills to survive, and you have to supplement your knowledge. Every time I loaded in, I would die. Sometimes in a few days, sometimes in a few weeks, but I would carry forward new tactics and bits of knowledge that equipped me better to survive the next time. Eventually, painfully, I might add, I understood enough to really dig in and actually survive. A few days or weeks became long enough that the power and water would shut off pretty much every single time. A process that seems to happen at random somewhere in the first month or so of game time, in-game time. And that's when I had to start really learning. In a sense, all those failed runs had been preparing me for what seemed like the next major milestone. I had been playing the tutorial, if you will, living off borrowed time while the water and power kept working during the fall of civilization, probably how a lot of people would do it in the real world if it happened. But having gained enough knowledge and skill to survive the first few weeks, I started to see why the game is unequivocally a work of genius. The next thing that hit me was when I knew I absolutely had to make a video. See, you aren't the main character here. The world is. That might sound stupid, but let me explain. During one of my runs, I put a decent amount of work and time into gathering food and weapons. It wasn't anything special, but I got lucky with a few guns and a lot of ammo, with bags to carry them, and canned food right off the bat, and I was excited to see how far I could go on that particular run. Nope. Didn't go far that time because I got bit on the arm, unfortunately, and a bite means eventual death every single time. The sense of tension here permeates the game completely, because any encounter with any zombie can be fatal. You never get so strong that the game becomes trivial. It just, well, at least I haven't yet. Maybe some people do eventually. It just doesn't seem to happen though, because at any moment, even while equipped with vicious weaponry and solid armor, at any moment you can get bitten in an unexpected way and one bite is death. Anyway, I did a lot of work, got some weapons, stocked up on food, and then got bit, unfortunately. I sort of rage quit, I'm not gonna lie, but something told me to try just one more run, that little voice in the back of my head, so I did it. I spawned in, but something felt vaguely familiar, like really familiar. I had spawned in a house that I was familiar with, go figure, because it was actually close by to where I spawned the run before, if you can believe that. And this was the aha moment for me, like it really was, because when I went back over to where I thought my things had been, I was thinking it's all so familiar. I mean, is this the same place? It was a good house. Maybe the loot wasn't randomized. Maybe I could get all the stuff again. I don't know. There was a lot going through my mind at that point in time. I was frustrated with having died before. When I got there, everything I had done, the alterations I had made, the progress I had achieved, even my own character with all the gear he was carrying was still there. This was it. This was when I knew the game was for me, because the meat sack vessel I spawned in with, the fragile thing that could be snuffed out at any given second by any number of things in the world, was just a tool like any other. The real game was the persistent world, and my ability to shape it over time was the key. That's when I kicked it into overdrive. I learned that I could use a pen and mark the map. I started putting down critical locations, safe houses, libraries, etc., and finding the actual books I needed to accomplish goals and get skill multipliers for progression. I got a car working, which was incredibly satisfying the first time. Actually, the first time it was luck, but from there I realized how to systematically go about finding a vehicle if I need to, then getting it to run. And I learned how to construct some of the most basic necessary structures so that every run I subsequently started went better and better. Over time, I shifted. I wasn't just trying to survive the basics anymore. I was peppering the map with hidey holes and safe houses, trying to find generators for them, stocking them with tons of gas, and building up an arsenal inside. I haven't done shit with farming yet, okay? Just to be clear, that's stuff I haven't even learned at all. But as my knowledge increased in the real world, it measurably increased in game, till I was impacting the world dramatically with every single run. I crashed a car and had to get it working again. I had to figure out plumbing, which was kind of a pain, and rainwater collection, which I didn't even really expect until I realized it, and it was like, whoa, of course. I had to understand water purification as well, logically, and measure the impact of using firearms, since they attracted a massive horde whenever I tried. So did the alarms that go off. Like, there was all these different learning moments that were equally as satisfying as the other ones. Another moment that stands out a lot was when I first figured out how to craft spears, and then use them at the proper distance to just insta-kill multiple zombies walking towards me. Yes, they were still dangerous. Yes, I was using valuable materials for those spears because they're extremely fragile, which is a little bit frustrating, but the satisfaction available in this game is practically unrivaled. All of this, and I still hadn't even mastered the fucking character builder. See, Project Zomboid layers in professions better than any other survival game I've played. Want to be an electrician? Yeah, good call, because you have actual knowledge that helps in unexpected ways. You can be a burglar or any number of professions. I gravitate towards unemployed, where you pick your own custom perks, and it's great. You have a ton of positive and negatives to choose from, some of which are brutal, and I learned to never select them again, while others can be fixed immediately by eating or drinking or smoking or finding glasses, and you subsequently get free perk points that can dramatically increase your aptitude. It's a really great system. I can't stress that enough. All of those stats, those special bonuses and painful drawbacks, they translate into status effects. If you're stressed and tired and you worked out that morning so you have muscle fatigue and you didn't eat enough, you really suck at killing zombies. Hit them over and over and over. Your muscles just can't do it. But if you take your time, prepare, go slow, get rest, and have good health, you can slug right through them. Bam, bam, and the sound is really satisfying when you kill one. You can get them with pretty much any weapon, even a frying pan, splattering the walls and smashing brains on the ground. Like I just said, the combat is very satisfying, and it gets even better when you start to develop a proper mindset of sorts. Every few seconds, you'll like spin around rapidly and check behind you. Why? Because if you don't, and something grabs you and you didn't see it, the run might be over because every bite is fatal. It's interesting. It might feel clunky at first, okay? And it did for me. It felt really clunky at first, but it's not. And when it clicks, it really clicks. For a while, I actually just lived in a car, drove around, ate a bunch of canned food, hit houses on the way, brought a hiking pack, and basically only came home or went to any sort of central safe house when I had a bunch of cool stuff that I'd never seen before. Another time I got in a fresh car, great condition, choice, mint condition car. Drove it off into the sunset, had to sneeze in real life, crashed it into a tree, and died immediately after, because the game is viciously unforgiving, while offering you the perfect amount of opportunity at the same time. Eventually, after enough time and prep work and knowledge, I'll take over a warehouse or a military base or something. I don't even know everything that's on the map right now, so I haven't decided yet. Maybe a courthouse or a shopping mall, I'm not sure, but I'm advancing towards that run pretty fast, where everything clicks and comes together. I feel like I know enough now where I can drop in, grab loot, get moving, and get somewhere safe to make progress again pretty much every time. And just to reiterate my main point in all of this, the character you play as actually isn't the main character of the game. The world is the main character of the game. And it's the real thing you should be focused on every time, because the meat sack you use to impact the world will die, and die again and again. So really, honestly, don't get attached to it. Focus on the world. You want co-op? Yeah, it's got that, and it's fun, making this one of the most difficult, well-rounded, satisfying, frustrating, well-made, and detailed games on the entire market, by far. It is a solid, hands down 9.5 out of 10 at least. I can't get enough of it. I play it a lot, and I'm going to continue to play it a lot, and the Steam page is linked down below, obviously, in the description for anyone interested. All in all, Project Zomboid is kind of my next major obsession in video games. I felt compelled to talk about it, obviously. Here I am. I'll be playing more characters and completing more bases with enthusiasm, and I look forward to engaging with the online community more because co-op seems like a great experience and I want to play more of it. Multiplayer, modding, you name it, I'm here for it. It's a good game. Of course, when I feel up to the task, because I'm not exactly an expert yet. Project Zomboid can be described, by me at least, as a demonstration of creative genius from a small team with a lot of passion and well-deserved success. What better candidate for an indie spotlight could there possibly be? That's it. If you want to support, please check out the links down below. Locals and Patreon, of course, a YouTube alternative, channel memberships, and our cybersecurity affiliate product list as well. Plus more videos in the works, but I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching, and have a nice night.